What's up, nerds? Welcome back to the channel. Today we are trying to build the ultimate fishing kayak for under $1,000. This will be, in our opinion, what we believe could be the ultimate fishing kayak. We got a couple of ground rules that we'll cover first, because obviously you could build a fishing kayak for $250, but we don't want to. We're going to build something else that we would want to fish out of a lot.
The ground rules are, this had to be a kayak that Jeff or I, whatever, would be happy fishing out of. It cannot be a sit inside. So we're just straight away, we're not doing sit inside, period. Sit on top kayaks only. So yes, we have MSRP pricing, but some of the kayaks that you'll see are almost always on sale. We've seen them like consistently on sale. We're going with what is consistently the most advertised price.
We are not looking at the used market. It is a great place to start. If you want to get a decent kayak, get it used.
100%.
With kayaks, they hold up pretty dang well, especially with the Old Towns and Hobies of the world. They'll hold up for years. So we would recommend scour Facebook Marketplace or Craigslist or something of the like to try to find a used option. For today's video though, because we can't control the used market, we don't know what's available in your neck of the woods, we're gonna go ahead and go with whatever is readily available domestically, retail-wide, or at a kayak store.
And then as far as paddle and PFD, that is included. You can't get a paddle kayak without having a paddle. And you are going to...
How are you going to move?
How you move. And then you also will have a PFD. So we have a standard PFD that we have chosen. First. This is the Onyx. We have actually used this one for years.
It's great.
It's right here. $75 for that. And then a $50 paddle that we found. The Pelican Poseidon Angler paddle. We feel like this is a very serviceable paddle and one of the cheapest ones we could find. We have 3 builds. A couple of them are a little more throw and go. One of them is a little more stand up, ready to fish. So we're going to walk you through each one of those designs. We'll show you what we believe to be true about these kayaks. We have not used them, but based on our knowledge and experience, we feel pretty confident recommending these based on the price. And we will say, it is possible, it's up to you guys, you're in charge, but it's possible that we may get one of these and build it out for you.
But listen, we're not just going to pick up a kayak because we already have kayaks. If you guys really want us to do an on-the-water review, you got to help us out a little bit.
Give a little to get a lot.
So if you can share this video around, if we can blow this thing up and say, let's get
22,000 likes.
Oh, 750 likes.
All right, same thing.
Somewhere in the high like range, then we would definitely consider picking these up and doing an actual on the water review. How do we really feel about these builds, right? Now we're not gonna buy all 3, but we will buy our top one. So the second favor, I should say, that we would ask of you is in the comments below, help us decide which of these 3 builds would be the best in your opinion.
You got to look at all of them. If you only look at one, so help me.
So look at all 3 as we go through them. Let us know in the comments below which one you believe is the best build. And then if we get this over 750 likes, we'll say, then we'll go pick it up, including whatever accessories we don't have. We'll grab those and test them out. We'll do our review system on this as well, so we can give it the aggressively average assessment on that and whatever accessories we pick up. So you guys help us out, and hopefully we can help you out, especially if you're on the market for a budget fishing kayak that has all of the accessories that you would need to be happy fishing on the water.
So after scouring the internet, we found 3 kayaks that we feel like fit the mold for what we were trying to do here today.
So I'll show you them on screen here as well. So number 1, the first one that kept coming up, honestly, and it was requested a lot in our comments, would be the 3 Waters Big Fish 105. And this one, I believe, is pretty widely available domestically as well, so it should be pretty easy for you to find. Their shipping on this kayak, though, is only $100 from their website. So that's not bad. So if you can find it and it's always on sale, then it is one that we would probably recommend. The retail price on this is listed at $949. I have never seen it sold at that price. It's usually $599. So it also comes in, of these 3 builds, as our least expensive base kayak.
Which is crazy, even for a paddle kayak, for a sit on top, it's crazy value. Things that we liked about this kayak, not hyper wide, I think it's 33 and a half inches. But it has a tri-tune design. So that is going to create some stability for you. But as we talked about with some other kayak builds, it's got a little more squared off back end. It's going to be a little bit slower. So you're not paddling anywhere quickly. But we talked about, hey, standing up is really important for a lot of people. This gets you into what should be a stand-upable model. You don't have a front hatch, but you got a nice storage area. The rear, very open, which we really liked. And it does have 2 rod holders built in. That does help you out later on in the build, which you will see, because you don't have to buy rod holders. It has tracks in the front, and it has what you need from a storage in the side capacity area. And it comes with some bungee paddle holders. We also really like the sonar pod, so a removable pod for moving things like batteries, potentially mounting your accessories to, and being able to take that, to and from the water. That's a nice little benefit, an upgrade that others did not have.
And if you added a sonar, which you're probably not going to do at $1,000 for your budget, but you could do at like a $1,500 budget.
Or in year 2.
Or the next build. Yeah, save up for the next year. Like
Yeah.
you get the kayak, you enjoy it for a year, you add a fish finder if you want to, but that sonar pod would be nice for that.
We like the seats. We do not think the seats are going to be like top tier, but we feel like these are like a mid-tier option from comfort and quality.
Yeah.
We liked about this kayak too, it has a 2-stage seat, so you can go up higher. That is a huge benefit, and it didn't just like bungee or strap in. It has what looked to be kind of plastic molded in, snap set seat option for raising the seat, which creates a little more storage and gets you up a little higher, a little more comfortable to fish out of, and a lot easier to stand up in. I think this one did have the assist strap though too in the front.
This one does have an assist strap in the front that comes with it that you can use. Things that we didn't love so much about this, and we'll probably come back up with the other 2 builds as well, would be like the tank well space in the back on all of these, being that one, they're shorter,
10-footers.
They're shorter kayaks.
They're all 10 foot.
But 2, just in general, like those budget kayaks, you don't get as much space. It will fit your standard kayak crates at like the 10 by 10 to 13 by 13 size. We think it might even fit like a 13 by 16, like
maybe
the black pack, or we're gonna try, we'll get to it in a minute, the Flambeau crate.
Yep.
We do believe that should fit back there. Another thing that we didn't love so much, the open tank well in the front, which is something that you're going to see in a lot of budget kayaks. There's just nothing up there, but there is a bungee system, so you can just throw some bags of plastics in there, bungee over top. They're not going to spill over. That's great.
Waterproof bag, whatever.
Yep. The other thing that we didn't love so much is that the decking is plastic.
That's like your foot area where you're standing. A lot of them do like a sea decking, like a soft foam, or like a firmer foam that's like more comfortable for your feet. This is just plastic, so the cheaper version. We didn't love it, but again, not enough of a detraction. This did seem like the best budget option. Again, one of the very few where we felt like you should be able to stand and comfortably fish. So we'll start with that build. This is going to be your base platform. Again, $600. That is really inexpensive, and that enables you to put on what we want to put on all of these kayaks, which is going to be your top request option, the Anchor Wizard. Look, when you're in a paddle kayak, what's going to come out of premium? Control, right?
Yeah.
And not having to fight the wind with paddling is a huge deal. So not just you can have a cheaper anchor, you'll see one on a later kayak, but having the Anchor Wizard, it just cuts down so much on the cleanliness and organization of your kayak, but also the speed and control. So it's just a huge benefit.
Keeping in mind that we're talking about the ultimate budget kayak at $1,000, that would be why we'd recommend the Anchor Wizard. Because as far as just line management, anchor line management, it's just the better option.
The other thing that the Anchor Wizard does is it holds the anchor outside of your kayak. When you are using one of those manual winders, I've used them for years. You either have to find a way to lock them in place, or you have to take the whole thing in and out every single time. It just, nothing compares to the Anchor Wizard. It is the one thing that we would splurge on with all these builds. It's $100 on Amazon just for that. And then you can use a dumbbell, or you can get like a $10 anchor after the fact. They're not very expensive. You only need a 1 to 3 pound anchor, at the most 3 pounds. So
get a nice rock.
Whatever works, man. Just something heavy, chuck it. So that is going to be the first thing that we're going to add. The next thing we're going to add, and this really kind of gets down to it, is the crate. The low price also enables you to upgrade in crates. So you could get a kit, like we'll see in one of the other ones, like the old school milk crate versions. But because we have the extra money with this one, we're going to go with the Flambeau Tough Crate. This thing, I've had one. I actually choose it over a lot of other models. The top portion, as you can see right here, it sort of has like the top lid portion. That is a game changer. That takes care of a ton of your storage options. You're not buying track packs, you're not buying bags, you're not having to like store stuff in your PFD as much or like bring other things. All of it can stay right in there, and it still holds anywhere from 4 to 7, depending on the size of your boxes, 4 to 7 boxes in the main compartment area. It doesn't weigh very much, and it comes with 2 more rod holders. So now you're at 4 rod holders, a lot more space, and it's a lightweight option, so you're not messing with your 375-pound weight capacity.
Yeah, we do need to keep the overall weight down with this, so we're going to do that pretty easily with this crate.
Because I'm 200 of that right now.
Yeah. You're a little more limited, especially with the smaller budget options, right? All right, so total for build number 1, if we're looking at the 3 Waters Big Fish 105, plus the Anchor Wizard, plus the PFD, plus the paddle, plus the crate, plus we're going to add $10 in addition here for like a 3-pound dumbbell, right? Or whatever cheap anchor option you can get. You can get Cannonball, dumbbell, grapnel. They're usually super cheap, so just grab one of those.
Amazon it.
We're going to call it $10 plus a carabiner so that you can clip it on and you're good to go.
And you're going to have some nylon pad eyes. These are going to be ways for you to route the line from the Anchor Wizard somewhere to the back of your boat. Huge upgrade, totally worth it, not expensive, but we added $7 for those because we looked them up on Amazon. That was for a 10-pack, so you get everything you need to outfit your kayak. So let's go through the total math on this one. Kayak starting, what was it, $600?
$600 for the kayak. You got $75 for the Onyx PFD. You've got $50 for your paddle. You've got $100 for the Anchor Wizard. You got $90 for the Flambeau crate. And then we're going to add another $10 for the anchor plus carabiner attachment, plus your deck loops for another additional $7. And that puts you at a grand total of $932.
That's insane. You're under $1,000.
Well under.
You got to splurge on the not only Anchor Wizard, but also on the crate. Yep. And I think if I saw that boat at the ramp, I'd be like,
I'd be happy.
I'd be like, that person is making the most for their money. Like, I think every single one of those dollars is stretched as far as it can go.
I'm going to say go ahead and add a forward-facing rod holder for $30 more.
Yep.
So that would put you at $962 at that point. So you can add
the Railblazer, I think, is the highest quality, least expensive one, and it's a very low profile. I think that's the cheapest, lowest profile one that I know about.
And you got track at the front where you can mount it, so you are good to go. So build number 1 is the Three Waters Big Fish. If you're voting below, make sure that you put that in your comment if this is what you think is the best one.
Big Fish.
It's the cheapest one. I can tell you that much. All right, going to our next option. We've got another commonly requested one in our comments, which is the Vibe Yellowfin. Now, we personally have not used any Vibe kayaks. Part of the reason for that is there's no dealers by us. And like, if you ever see us not using a kayak, we also get Kaku is another brand that gets recommended a lot. Brooklyn, like nobody sells them around us, so we can't demo them. And I'm not on a whim gonna buy a $1,000 to a $2,000 kayak.
It's tough.
Sorry, but that's why. So Vibe is one that commonly comes up. If we ever find a dealer where we can test these, we will. Or if you guys vote for this one, we'll end up owning one. So we got the Vibe Yellowfin, which is a 10-foot kayak, and it comes in at a base price of $749. So we're already $150 more. That cuts your budget. So
surprisingly, when you only have $200 to $300 or $200 to $400 to work with,
stuff's got to go.
Being at the 200, you'll see where this is going to hurt you. Now, things we liked about the Yellowfin, very simple, very lightweight. You're talking like 70 pounds total weight. So I really like that. That is 10 to 20 pounds less than some of these other options.
Lighter than the Big Fish.
We like that. It's also more of a traditional kayak shape, so it doesn't have the big fat rear end. This
should be faster.
It should be a little bit faster, a little more maneuverable. And just easier for you to paddle.
Another thing we really liked is that it does have 4 rod holders built in. There are actually 2 in the front, which I've never seen.
Kind of clutch, man. That doesn't happen.
Usually you get 1 at best. So there's 2 in the front, 2 in the back. They're at a good angle. I think that's great. So already it's almost like you don't need a crate. You could just toss your tackle under the seat or behind you or whatever. But you got your rod holders covered. So that was pretty clutch. And they also have 2 hatches. They're circular hatches that have a silicone cover that kind of just peels on and off. That was pretty neat. There's one way up front and there's one kind of down between your legs. You got the paddle holders on the side with a little strap for it. And again,
there's some storage on the side too for tackle boxes. Yeah,
that was cool on both sides of the seat.
Very intentional design there. Now, the seat does look pretty comfortable. It's kind of their base model seat. It's a mesh seat, which their seat looks pretty good.
Should be fine. Like all these mesh seats, they're going to be breathable, so you're not going to
sweaty.
Your booty's not going to get too hot and sweaty. But
full swass.
It will it'll concave. It will collapse over time if you're a bigger boy like me. Like that's going to happen. So it's comfortable-ish, I would say. One of the problems with that is not adjustable. It just sits in one spot and it's pretty low.
And it's bungee strapped in. So
which is weird.
We looked at that. I mean, that brings the cost down for them. So you probably get the nicer seat, but it's not like when we talked about the Big Fish, it has 2 modes and they kind of clip into like a plastic, like specific molded piece. These do not. They're laying in the kayak and it's kind of bungee down. So we didn't love that.
It might be kind of rickety. We're worried.
It might move a little bit as well.
It might move. That's what we're worried about.
Don't love that. The other things that we didn't like about this kayak, it really is just the price. The $150 does hurt you, and it means you get less. So when we looked at this build, what's the first? Well, do you get your Anchor Wizard or not?
You don't unless you break the rules of the $1,000 budget. And another thing I think we both disliked was it looks like the rear tank well is quite a bit smaller.
Yeah.
It looked like of the 3 kayaks, the Big
smallest.
Fish 105 had the biggest tank well, and this had the smallest tank well. And the next one we'll talk about has it in the middle.
Yeah,
right.
And the Yellowfin, the rear didn't have as much storage either. So both good and bad when it comes to paddling. So we haven't used it, so a little bit remains to be seen.
Yep.
So with this build, I think we did. We also had to go down in crates. So instead of doing the Flambeau $90 crate, we went with the Yak Gear crate kits, the Kayak Crate Kit. This is $38, so this saves you $60. Totally worth it. I mean, really, this is what kind of enables everything else. Gets you 2 rod holders though, which is nice, and just allows you to store stuff inside of your kayak, which is great.
Yep. So if we're pricing this out, which we are. So we got our base kayak here at $749. You've got your Onyx PFD again at $75. You got your paddle, the Pelican again at $50. You've got no anchor wizard. Bye-bye. So no $100 there. You also don't have to buy the anchor for the extra $10 or the deck loops, the pad eyes for an extra $7. So take all that away. You get the downgraded crate at $37. And that would be it. So that would put you at $912, understanding that you got the budget crate instead of the nicer Flambeau crate. So since we're at $912 and we're under, you could add a forward-facing rod holder. You could do like a super cheap anchor.
You can bump up to the Flambeau if you wanted to. But again, you're right at the top of that budget. So we felt like this was a good representation of a $750 model, and all of a sudden you're really feeling the difference between $600 and $750. So if you wanted something that was more paddleable, get you more access, still at 10 feet, still going to be stable enough to fish out of, but maybe not be standy boy in, then this is probably your option. It's also lighter in throw and go. That's why we wanted to have this model, and that's actually one of the reasons to go away from the tough crate. You can save a couple more pounds. So this really would be your lightest fishable option.
And if you wanted to add the anchor and break all the rules in the world,
you do whatever you want.
It'd be a little over $1,000, about $1,029. You rule breaker, you.
Which is pretty freaking good. So, but you're right there at the top. Now, we did have another kayak, and the reason we had the Yellowfin is because both the Yellowfin and this other one were a little bit harder to find.
And this third kayak, also, interestingly enough, is so similar to the Big Fish 105.
Yeah, it's really similar.
Actually insane. And it might be just that these two companies are like, this is like a parent company.
Could be.
I don't know.
They're close.
Don't know the
tree.
The family tree of kayaks. Yeah. It seems like they're very similar. They're built for the same exact accessories. They look very similar. But anyways, we're talking about the Feel Free Moken, specifically the 10-foot V2. Now, what we found is it seems to be sold out everywhere. So
a lot of places. We could find it, but it was sold out a lot of spots.
There's also a light version of this kayak, but we're just talking about specifically the 10V2. So if we're looking at that one, it was the most expensive base price at $799. Again, unless you found somebody who's clearancing it out at maybe $699, we found one place. But again, kind of sold out everywhere.
Regular price.
We're going with $799. So consider it $799.
I mean, you only have $200 to play with.
You got $200.
So again,
less your PFD and paddle, you now only have like $80 to play with.
That's right. The reason we picked this one is because it was very similar to the Big Fish in design, but it got away from the stability piece. So the Big Fish had like the tri-tune. This has similar, but not quite as aggressive of the tri-tune. We feel like it's gonna be a little faster. We feel like it's gonna have a little more mobility, which is really important when you're dealing with a paddle kayak. It is a little more expensive. It also, the pod situation is different. It has a pod area, but it just has a lid. It doesn't have a removable pod.
Just storage.
Yeah,
basically.
Just storage. But the foot area, whereas the Big Fish had like a plastic big pad that we didn't really like, this has like the 2 softer portions where your feet would go. So it seems like you should be able to stand on it, and it's gonna be a little more comfortable. It should be a little more comfortable to stand in than standing on just like straight plastic. Has a 2-position seat, but versus the Big Fish, which sort of had like 2 areas for you to like move them in. This one has like a strap, more like a crescent kayak setup, which I think is just fine. Gives you the 2-position, which you really like. So
it locks it down so if you flip the kayak, it doesn't fall out.
I think overall, very similar to the Big Fish, which should be a little more nimble, but also a little more expensive. This one also has open hatches in the front, with just like bungee straps to hold things in. So again, very similar to the Big Fish. And all these, again, not 100% like you can get them at Walmart. That's not the case here. So this gives you just like another option. If one of these is closer to you and you were looking for that $1,000, this could be that option for you as well.
So price-wise, we're looking at Feel Free Moken 10 V2. is $7.99 base.
Very specific.
You're gonna get your PFD at the 75. You're gonna get your paddle at the $50. You are going to have to figure out something with your anchor because you're not getting an anchor wizard. You're not getting the flambeau, but you're getting the cheaper crate at the $37. And that puts us at a grand total of $962. If we go ahead and we add the anchor and do all this other stuff, you could be looking at around $1079 if you want to go ahead and break the rules.
But you're like very close. You're still under $1,100, so I think you're within that $50 range. So these could all be built plus or minus $50 of $1,000, which again, that doesn't include like tax and shipping and some of the other stuff. So that's why we really didn't fully build out a lot of these. You got to accommodate, leave some room to accommodate for some of the logistics there. But all these are within that $1,000 range, which I'll be honest with you, after we looked at all of these, I was surprised at how few options. I was like, yes, I would fish out of that. Yes, it comes with the accessories I want. Yes, it comes with the safety and paddle equipment and all that. And it really encompasses the full price. There were not nearly as many kayaks as I thought out there. That would be like truly solid fishing machines, or we felt like would be solid fishing machines.
All right, so that's it for these builds. Let us know what you think in the comments below. Would you vote for the Big Fish 105, or the Vibe Yellowfin 100, or the Feel Free Moken 10 V2? Which one was your favorite out of those three? We'll see what we can pick up. If this video hits 750 likes, we'll go ahead and grab one, build that budget kayak, put it on the water, put it to the test, and we'll probably be really mean to it just so that we can fully assess the durability factor of it.
Hey, you got it. If you don't put it through its paces, I can't recommend it. Which one would you pick?
I'm going with the Big Fish.
Yeah, I think for the price, it's really hard to not go with the Big Fish. I think
I can find it more easily too. Honestly.
Maybe, yeah. I think if the Moken was more readily available, that would probably be my pick. I will say, after fishing out of a sit inside, I appreciated the speed and the maneuverability because I'll tell you right now, sweating inside of a kayak and paddling and being out of breath when you get to the next spot,
not fun.
Is not fun. So I'm probably more in the I really put the emphasis on the speed and maneuverability. So I think it's gonna be tough. I'm interested to see what you guys pick.
So you let us know in the comments below, and we'll see if we boost this video enough. We go ahead and we grab that stuff. You'll have to find out later though, so you might want to subscribe, maybe smash that like, because obviously that helps us buy the thing. And we'll catch you guys on the next one. All right? Cool. See ya.
Like the video.